Welcome back to 340 Paddler. Today I want to discuss virtual ground crew. Now this is going to be especially important if you're self-supported, and I did do a video on self-supported racers where I mentioned this. I'm just going to go into a little more detail here. Now, according to the rules, a virtual ground crew is anyone who can track a racer electronically and know their relative location. Both physical and virtual ground crews must be available 24 hours a day for phone contact. Those are the two important takeaways here. You need to be able to track electronically, and you need to be available 24/7. Doesn't mean you need to be in front of a computer 24/7, but you need to be available. So who can be your virtual ground crew? Well, a parent, a significant other. Probably not a pet. Another racer who isn't participating this year. Pretty much anyone with the electronic means and the availability to do so. Their job is to track you down the river, so that if at any point the race officials need to know where you are, they can contact the virtual ground crew and they can give them an approximate location. How are you going to do this? Well, the most common and the most highly recommended system is going to be a spot tracker. These cost about $100 for the tracker, I think about $150 a year for tracking. Very, very useful satellite-based system. Works very, very well. Just make sure if you do this that you send the shared page, the page that someone can actually track you on, to your virtual ground crew before the race. You can also use some of the tracker apps, although some of them are based on cell phone signals, some on GPS, so some might go out more than others during the race. So try and have a backup system, or maybe a phone that isn't activated anymore, where you've downloaded these apps. It'll still run GPS, it just won't run cell phone signal. But it is something to look into and something to mention on the Facebook group or in the forums. The virtual ground crew has to be available 24/7. You do not have to stay up for every hour the racer is up. But if these people call and say, hey, where is little Johnny? Because he should have been through Lexington by now. You need to be able to say, well, he's still on the river. He's approximately here. And obviously you won't be able to give them a river mile, but you can give them a rough location. He's about halfway between Lexington and Waverly, or he seems to be sitting at a ramp somewhere, and you know approximately what town is near it. That would definitely help them out. There are some things to watch. So as virtual ground crew, you're not just waiting for a call from race staff. You want to keep an eye on a few things. First of all, when you're watching the track, you want to watch for your racer moving at the same speed as the current for long periods of time. That's usually a bad sign. You should probably get in touch with your racer. Or if they've been sitting in the same place for a long period of time and didn't tell you, hey, I'm going to sleep or something like that, that's where you want to get in touch with the racer again and find out, is there something going on that you should know about? Also, you might, in a case of a spot tracker or some of these apps, you might get an emergency signal, or maybe your racer calls and says, hey, there's a problem. That is the point where we need to send in the cavalry. And this is an old safety card. Please do not take down these numbers. But your racer should send you a photo of this safety card. It will have the updated phone numbers for the race. And if something happens as virtual ground crew, you can also call in on behalf of the racer and say, hey, there's a problem and the racer is located here. Just like a regular ground crew, if a racer didn't come in, is running very, very late, might call in, the virtual ground crew will do the same thing. It's actually an easy job. It sounds a lot more complicated than it is. More than likely, your phone will never ring. Your racer will be in good shape. This is there for those times where something does go wrong. So Take it seriously. If you are virtual ground crew, make sure you're available. Make sure you're tracking. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, quarrels, qualms, quandaries, curse words, please leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, this is 340 Paddler, hoping that you keep your paddle in the water.